Hello and welcome back, beautiful soul. Today we have another amazing guest. I say that every time, and it's the truth. We have another amazing guest, Mark Mezadourian. He and I first connected through his amazing sister, Rachel Cooley, and we did an interview or a summit about 18 months or so ago, and I'm delighted to have him back. He's absolutely amazing. I love the angel energy that comes through him. It's just fabulous, and y'all are going to love it too. So without further ado and me yammering, allow me to introduce him, and then we're going to get right into it because he has shared he's got something special for y'all today. I'm not even going to spill the beans. Mark Mezadourian is an intuitive specializing in connecting with angels and guides. Ascending spirituality with heart-centered practicality is the goal of his work. He created the 9-week daily Om course, Angelic Infusions. Live the truth of who you are and attract your divine partner online course. I love that title. Mark offers private intuitive readings, workshops, weekly groups available, online or by phone, readings and events all focus on making our world bigger. And he absolutely does that. His energy is pretty big in a very special, positive way. So welcome, Mark, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, a pleasure to connect with everyone.
Thank you. Would you please tell us about your journey, how you got from wherever it was you started to here, because the stories are amazing.
Yes, we get into spirituality through suffering or insight, and like most people, I got in it through suffering. In 1998, I had an anxiety attack, and that got my attention in terms of what I wasn't working. And in short, the angels came forward to help me out. I was introduced to a lot of spirituality rapidly, and I discovered that that connection really worked well for me. And
Okay.
as that helped for myself to get my own life kind of on a different track and into a healthier, fun space that I realized I could reach people really easily. So that was the start of that. And my sister, who you mentioned, Rachel, introduced me to Doreen Virtue's work, and I started to do a lot of classes, read a lot of books, and this and that, and did a training with her a few years later, and that provided a foundation. And then I've been kind of just doing my own work since then. And the goal of that is to get out of the way and let the angels and guides talk. It's just been a case of like, okay, what did they, rather than what I think, what did they say? What did they do? And the commonalities in that and how they actually work in the lightness of that energy, and the inclusion, which is truly working from unconditional love and the recognition that our human working of unconditional love is conditional. You, not you, that's conditional. So it's what is it like to love everyone, including people we don't like and disagree with, and to let that be the space that we encounter the angels in. So we're dropping out of the dynamics that we tend to talk about with angels, like deserving, worthiness, like, oh, they must be busy with something else, like letting that go into a space of okay, what's here? Let's connect with them. Let's use our free will to connect with them. Let something different happen.
How did you get out of your own way, Mark?
Failure, repetition. I find there's few things worse than getting guidance and not listening to it. And my recent story around that is a couple years ago. I was flustered and in a hurry living in Los Angeles, and I got guidance to turn left. I turned right and I got a ticket. And it was like, okay, so the flaw in the system was me. It wasn't them, wasn't anything else. It was like, okay, thanks, guys. Got it. If we just take the moment we think of guidance as voicemail, and we have to check our voicemail to tune in, and what works is pattern with that. And if we think of, we have a daily appointment of prayer, meditation, whatever it is, but like, hey guys, what's up? Thank you for this fabulous day. Thank you for everyone on the planet thriving. What do you want me to know? So there's a check-in with that. And the repetition of that to make it not special, The spiritual teacher Ram Dass talks about not trying to repeat your spiritual experiences. Like what came through one day may not happen the next, but to just keep showing up, keep being present, and to recognize they're right here, and how special that connection is, and how fruitful and deep it is. And so, what tends to happen for me, one of the things is when things are going really well, like, I don't need to pray today, and it's like just every single day letting something different happen, and connecting. So we bypass the ego over time. We recognize these are friends and they're here to help us out, and we truly begin to understand unconditional love and what can move. So what is insurmountable for us or overwhelming for us is simple for them. And so if we think of what's being asked of everyone right now during this period of time where nothing is hidden, it's the great thing about this period of time. Nothing is hidden. All this hatred, all this misogyny, racism, whatever, it's on the table. It's out there. And so what we get to do is to really use all of ourselves right now, to not segment into work, spirituality, relationships, and to let there be one you. And just recognizing and understanding the practicality of using your intuition, to use your guidance, to let the world be bigger. That's the whole point of it, is to, the whole point of guidance in spirituality is to make the world bigger. And so we're at a time where there's a whole movement to make the world small and exclusive, that our job is to keep it big.
Okay.
And that'd be a very simple dynamic.
I love the voicemail piece about guidance, that makes it so real and usable and relevant for today. It is like checking in your voicemail. You mentioned practicality, and I often talk about, down to earth, because when a lot of people think about or talk about or imagine connecting with angels, it feels like so far off for so many people that it's not reachable for them in the way they see you or me or Rachel or some of the other better known angel people. And how do you help others to know that it's not as woo-woo, airy-fairy, lofty as it sounds?
To take it out of the woo-woo and to not make it special.
Not make it special?
Not make it special. To think of this is part of you. Our bodies are hardwired for guidance. What do we do in dream time? And we all have experiences of knowing who's going to call us in 5 minutes, or to have a deja vu, or this or that, or to dream about someone and you see them the next day, that kind of thing, or have a visitation from a deceased loved one in either in physical reality or in dream time. We all have these experiences, and we think of just what is actually happening in those things. So we are used to the dynamic of only certain people can do this. Mm-hmm. That's just simply just not true. And I think that idea of that being exclusive is very stressful for us. And so we think of just truly understanding unconditional love, that no matter what, you are loved, that no matter what has happened or not happened, that everyone, all of us, have angels and guides surrounding us. And I think what helps in that is affinity. Our spirituality is like a fingerprint. It's so individual. So if everyone's talking about Jesus or Saint Germain or Archangel Michael, and those figures don't resonate for you, who does? I think a very recent example is, so David Bowie, since he has passed, has become a fantastic guide. And so if you think of why all these folks have passed away recently, is all of them have in common that they were master communicators and expressed themselves well.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so if we think of also then, what are they doing? What are people who passed away doing? They're available. So we release the things that we tend to create as stopping points. The things that tend to create a hang up, like, my grandmother passed away, she must be doing something else, or, we had a fight before she died, she doesn't want to talk to me. Like, so let's come back to unconditional love, that all these things vanish when people pass away, and that they are there to help. So if we think of the ultimate question this is getting into is, what are we doing here? Which is that we're here to use all of ourselves to enter a space of oneness and to let our understanding of that ripple out and radiate to other people. So this is what's great about this period of time. The angels are just been talking about just being thrilled about this period of time, which feels stressful for nearly everyone. But it's a time when it all comes together, because we're seeing failure of hate,
And how amazing is that?
Yeah.
Failure of hate. Thank heavens, finally, So what have been some of your challenges along the way in doing this? And maybe we've covered some of them, but I want to make sure that, you bring such amazing points and clarity. And that's why I love doing this series, because everyone has a slightly different path. As you mentioned, it's like a fingerprint. It's different for everyone, and yet there are so many similarities. But the perspectives, and you bring a very unique one. I'm getting chills on my legs for the third time since we started, which I love. So what are some of the challenges that you have encountered yourself or some of your clients? How do they manage those?
Well, it's for me, that's been releasing being right.
Okay.
And releasing attachment of like, okay, so I talk about unconditional love, but I don't like these people, and
Yeah.
people politically and still hold a space of unconditional love. It's recognizing that there's fear. Anything involving division is rooted in fear.
Okay.
And lack. The idea that, okay, there's not enough land, let's build a wall to keep. There's not enough money, there's not enough time, not enough love. And so it's this sense of like, mine. And so for me, that has been a sense of releasing judgment and recognizing the power of. So this is an interesting space of, so where we have, in essence, a divided country. How do you hold a space of unconditional love with people who don't agree with you? And it's fantastic in terms of engagement.
Yes, it's to do my best and just not engage in those certain areas and just accept everyone's opinions as their truth and just listen.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting exercise for me. Not real difficult. I just am mindful of it.
Yeah.
Because there's almost no neutral ground.
Yeah. So what do we do then? And this has been the angel download for right now, 2017, is to work beyond words.
Oh, can
Yeah.
you elaborate on that a little bit?
The failure of words, or a space where words are limited,
Okay.
and we have a dynamic in place, which is by choice, to create doubt around facts and such. So where words might involve choices right now, or factions right now, that the angels are talking about working beyond that energetically for us to really into and choose unconditional love and letting energy move things. So my decision to visualize and reaffirm, this is the part that can be hard, to visualize and reaffirm the world that we're building right now, that we're creating right now, which is one without borders, without division, where we all work together. The comedian Bill Hicks, he's at Texas, and he died in '94, but he had a whole oneness thing happening, and he just had this great joke about when everything's working out, it's like the news would be like, hey, it's all going to work out. Here's sports.
Yes.
Where we do recognize each other. So if we think about that space, if we knew we were all part of the same dynamic, what would change? How quickly could we solve hunger? How quickly could any kind of land dispute be released into a space of sharing? So all these things can shift rapidly and into a space of cooperation, as opposed to like my country, my this, and just the releasing the adolescent and childlike or childhood dynamics that are present in that. So this is about releasing fear and healing wounds to get into a space where everyone is included.
Okay. I feel them getting ready to really want to come through. So just if y'all will just allow me to take notes for like 30 seconds, then I'll be out of the way, okay? You said releasing fear and healing wounds. Okay, thank you guys. All right. So please, without further ado, we talked about this before we started a little bit, and I am really looking forward to whatever it is the angels have that wants to come through you. So please, you've got the floor, Mark.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and just take in a breath. And we'll just notice that everything we're about to do includes finances and success. If we think of, we talked about segmentation before, let's release the segmentation. Just recognize there is one of you, and letting there be one of you, as opposed to the you who is spiritual, the you who works, letting that go. So let's go ahead and take in a breath. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, Archangels and Ascended Masters, for the perfect guidance, clarity, clearing, and healing that's here for us right now for our highest possible good. We choose right now to release any and all sense of division, any sense of other, and allow right now for us to be whole, unique, and clear, and vital in our own energy right now. Let's go and just take in a breath. We're going to work with Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel for a bit. If you could all just breathe it, and whether you see it in your mind's eye, feel it in your body, know it in your heart, or hear it, just very simply notice yourself surrounded by 1,000 feet of white light, you in the center of a very huge space. And let's identify the white light as unconditional love. Wonderful. So let's just breathe in. Let's very simply notice Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel sharing that 1,000 feet of white light with you. And let's let the angels do their job, which is to help you out. Let's just take in a breath. So if you can notice, your job right now is to receive. That's it. And let's identify that Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel are archangels. They're angels. They're not bound by time or space. They could be with all of us at once. So you have in front of you undiluted, undistracted angels. Let's very simply let those two angels clear your energy. Let's just breathe in. Let's let them lift off of you any attachment to other people, even people who are dear to you, who are close to you. Children, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, family, friends. Let's just let them release all attachment. And why we're doing this is to create more room for you. Let's just breathe into that. Wonderful. Great. Let's let Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel lift off any attachment that you might have to. And let's not ascribe a mental idea of what that might look like. Let's just very simply let these two all-seeing, all-knowing archangels lift out of you and off of you. Here, lifting it out of your heart, out of your wallet, out of your brain, out of your body, out of your energy field, out of your experience, out of your future. Let's let any attachment to the fear just dissipate, and allowing right now for something different to happen. So if we're lifting away fear, let's notice love rushing in and filling that space. And it's safe for you to know who you are outside of fear. So let's breathe in. And let's very simply let there be a soul-like space, just letting your soul come forward, where you fully understand unconditional love. Great, good. Let's just take in a breath. And let's go ahead and just use your attention. If you think of your attention like a muscle, just breathe in. And once again, whether you feel it, see it, hear it, or know it, let's just place your attention on the two archangels. So taking your attention off of your experience and onto the archangels. Good. Let's notice both of them showering you with unconditional love from their hearts to your heart. Letting them clean you off and fill you up with pure love, pure peace, pure love, pure harmony, pure joy, pure appreciation, pure dedication to your happiness. And let's let them, as they do this, if there is almost like a crust around you or a shell around you, which we might call the rules, let's let them dissolve the rules. Let's let the rules dissolve and just let something different happen. Let's just breathe in. So let's notice what it's like. So if you could actually notice that crust, that shell being on the floor, on the ground of the 1,000 feet of white light, let's just simply just notice the beliefs that that shell contains. Only certain people can da-da-da-da-da. You have to be such and such to succeed. There's only so much. Just notice the beliefs and the rules that are now on the ground. Good. Let's just take a breath. And let's let, especially Archangel Gabriel, address any sensations that are happening in your body. Let's let, and this might be not apply to every single person. Let's very simply let the angels address any pain that might be coming up. And we'll do so with the recognition that it's safe for you to change. It's safe for you to receive. It's safe for you to be visible. It's safe for you to be powerful. That we're choosing in this moment to work with the angels to interrupt any information from this lifetime, past lives, or your ancestry around the fear of success, the fear of shining, the fear of having too much, the fear of having money, the fear of being in the public eye, the fear of being... Just taking a breath. I'm going to work on that for a moment. I'm just going to talk out loud. Thank you, Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel. We're also going to work with Archangel Ariel. So if we think there's a triangle and in the center of it of Michael, Gabriel, and Ariel behind you, perhaps, just take in a breath. Thank you, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Ariel, for clearing for each of us any limited thoughts, ideas, or harm from this lifetime, past lives, or ancestry around shining, around being visible, around being powerful, around being successful, around using our power. We release any and all these dynamics right now that might be infringing upon our peace and flow in this lifetime right now. So just take in a breath. And we recognize with simplicity that it is safe for us to thrive. It's safe for us to be intuitive, safe for us to talk to angels. It's safe for us to use all of ourselves. It's safe for us to use our intuition, safe for us to be prosperous, safe for us to succeed and to be visible. And it's safe for us to change the world. It's safe for us to disagree with other people and hold a different space where there is enough. Let's go and just breathe into all that. And in this same space, let's very simply just notice Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Ariel clearing from your DNA any limited ideas or beliefs that might have happened in past lives. Any limitation around finances, and specifically from past lives and from your ancestry, let's let the angels, especially Michael, release any limiting vows that you might have taken. Let's say you were a nun or a monk, you would have taken a vow of poverty, celibacy, perhaps silence even. Let's let Archangel Michael release all limited vows. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for lifting off of all of us all limited vows right now. We choose to release from our DNA, from our bodies, from our hearts, from our minds, from our energy field. We choose to release any limited vows of suffering, silence, slavery, servitude, celibacy, virginity, previous marriages, fear, anger, blame, revenge, slavery to time, belief in fate, and the belief that we receive our good only when we're dead. We choose to release all of these. We choose to also release any and all vows of poverty. Just taking a breath, and like a crust, once again, we choose to release, letting things fall away with simplicity. We choose to release anything that isn't serving us. Let's just breathe into that. And let's let Archangel Michael do all the work here. So if we could just notice whatever it means, he's saying to drop out of negotiation. Let's just let him move this energy. And so we cleared a lot. So just breathe in and just let that go. And thank you, Michael, for affirming with us. We choose to accept pure abundance, pure peace, pure love, unconditional love, pure joy. We allow ourselves to have fun. We recognize that it's safe for us to use all of our power. It's safe for us to recognize who we actually are and what's available to us, and all the help that is here for us. We choose to make this simple. We choose to operate outside of the rules of society and humanity thus far. We recognize that when we enter a space of unconditional love, that there is order, not chaos. When we enter a space of unconditional love, we are even more unique. We don't lose our identity in oneness. We're even more unique in our expression, understanding, and sharing of love. Let's just breathe into that. So let's release any fear around losing yourself and any clenching onto identity or personality. I am this. And recognize that you are, and you are more. So let's very simply investigate the more. Let's just take in a breath. Good. We're going to work with Archangel Michael on clearing any limited beliefs or ideas or experiences from your ancestry. We identify your ancestry as everyone on your mother's side of the family, going back to the first man and woman. And the same thing on your father's side. Let's just breathe in. So we tend to know about 1% of our ancestry. Some people maybe know 5, but it gets into a whole bunch of strangers. Let's just take in a breath. And we attach to, like, I'm Welsh and Armenian, but are you really? Am I? You know, what is our history? Let's just take in a breath. And without attachment to identity, personality, and history, let's just very simply get into a space of harmony. And we'll just pray out loud here. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for clearing from our ancestry, from our mother's side and father's side of the family, going back to the first man and woman. We allow any limited beliefs around or experiences around scarcity, lack, limitation, fear, or exclusion to be cleared and lifted from our DNA right now. We recognize that we live in a very unique time on the planet where our survival day to day is not in question. It's not at the forefront of our awareness. And we choose to recognize that we have time to thrive here. And so we allow any addiction or habit of focusing on survival that may be unconscious to be alleviated. We recognize it's safe for us to thrive. It's safe for us to take time to expand, to let new things happen. So thank you, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Ariel for clearing from our DNA, from our cells, from our beliefs, from our memories, and from our past, any and all limiting beliefs or experiences from our ancestry that are operating in us right now. We choose to release anything that's based on limitation or harm, including any limitation of our intuition based on being persecuted, harmed, or exiled or killed for being an intuitive or healer in the past. We recognize that is in the past, and it's safe for us to shine right now. It's safe for us to use all of our skills right now, and to, in fact, be celebrated for it. And we allow also for any limited ideas, thoughts, beliefs, or experiences around finances and success in our ancestry to be cleared and released right now for our highest possible good. Let's go and just take in a breath. Wonderful. Let's breathe in. Wonderful. We're just going to say one statement out loud. If we think of us talking to all of our ancestors and all of our past lives, and we tend to have a belief that our ancestors especially are mortified or just, oh my God, what are they doing? That they're mortified by our lives now, when in fact they're thrilled. So if we think of, on a very practical perspective, what is the purpose of having descendants? It's not to maintain the status quo, it's with the hope that they will do better. So we are the descendants who are doing better. So we can think of all of our ancestors as guides and going, ooh, look at that life. So let's just breathe in, and we'll say this out loud to your ancestors. I honor you by thriving. I'll say that.
I honor you by thriving.
Take in a breath. Good. Let's say that again. I honor you by thriving.
I honor you by thriving.
Fantastic. Let's just breathe in. So if we think of we're turning hesitation into support, that we are indeed activating all this help and using it. Let's just breathe into that. Great, wonderful. Let's breathe in. And let's come back to you noticing you in the 1,000 feet of white light with your attention on Michael, Gabriel, and Ariel. You could have your attention on the angels behind you just through your awareness. Let's just breathe in. Let's notice those three angels coming closer to you, perhaps even touching your body. So let's breathe in. Let's very simply just notice what they communicate to you, which might be super subtle. It might be like a whisper, like, hey. And it might be super simple information or confirmation. Just notice the angels communicating to you through words, images, feelings, knowing, or sound, or songs. Great, let's breathe in. And we're going to enter a space of prayer. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guides. Thank you, God. Thank you for showering all of us, including ourselves, with love in each moment. We celebrate our lives right now. We recognize and know that everything truly is in perfect and divine order at this moment. And we allow the world to get bigger. We allow our awareness, our intuition, our noticings to become more expansive. We release attachment to what we already know and let the world get bigger. Thank you for new information, new connections in our lives, new opportunities, new insights, new guidance, and a new sense of ourselves. We allow ourselves to be fully present right now in love and recognizing and knowing that everything truly is in perfect and divine order at this moment. And we choose to notice our attachments to ideas and to dynamics. We choose to recognize and know it's safe for us to speak up, safe for us to use our voices. It's safe for us to say yes and no. And it's safe for us to let everything be big. We recognize and celebrate the fact that the world is big, and we choose to keep it big, and that there is enough for everyone. And with this and for this, we thank Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Ariel for being the guides who work with us today. We recognize and acknowledge all the angels, all of our guides, all of our loved ones, all the elemental realm and the animal realm, and Mother Earth. We celebrate all of this right now. And with this and for this, we quite simply and lovingly ask for this or something better right now in all directions of time. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was powerful. I almost don't want to come back.
It's safe for us to be fully conscious and aware, have this awareness, and just notice, okay, what's actually happening. And then we recognize without getting a sense of like, oh my God, of to not be overwhelmed. We recognize the universe does not provide us with dynamics that we can't handle. And so if we talk about overwhelm just for a moment, these things provide us with a great deal of overwhelm. And if we think of, and why is so, right now this is on airplane mode, which is super helpful, but to have this not on your body all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an iPhone, it's going to demonstrate real quick. If you flip up from the bottom, in theory, there it is. It's
right.
Right there, just being able to turn it on and off, and also, so you need to have it on, which most of us do, to have it not near you, across the room. But recognizing how wireless radiation is creating this.
Okay.
When it's on, it's constantly connecting with a satellite. If that's on your body, that's something. And so I'm noticing a lot of people using that as their alarm clock.
True, they do.
And so if you think of you're not really sleeping, why is because your brain is registering that connection with the satellite as light.
Oh, okay.
This is part of the agitation that we have, and also our attention. So what we just did, and we'll let that go as a topic. There's more information on that out there. But if we think of why is everyone so freaking agitated? We're not sleeping well, but also what we just did involved a long form brainwave, right?
Okay.
The same thing we would do with meditation or reading or watching a play or watching a good movie or taking a walk in nature. And our society now is very much short, like phone,
Mm-hmm.
short brainwave. That agitates us. So if we look at that as a tool, so how do we get into this space? How do we maintain it? It's breath. It's awareness. It's let me give myself some room to have an experience. And this doesn't need to take long, but it's recognizing that your body's dexterous, but where you help your body out. What I noticed in doing what we just did in groups of people is everyone has the same look on their face.
Oh, wow.
Relaxed and present, And so if we think of, so what's actually happening there? What's the deal with that? That are we know how to do this, and we're losing ritual, the importance of ritual, And what we just did essentially is a ritual that we're tuning in and we're letting the world get big, and the importance of ritual. And our rituals now are involving a lot of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Be together or alone. Most people have a ritual with what they check on their phones, like checking Facebook, Instagram, These are great things to connect with, but it's a matter of there's more to it.
Right. That's true. So I find if I don't connect early in the morning or at some point before I go to sleep, then I'm not feeling as centered as I could, even though I have, like you do, part of your nature now is the connection. Just sitting down in my meditation chair in my beautiful garden just gives me that sense of letting it all go for a few moments.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's so important. It's like, oh my goodness. So what is it? What are some of the lessons you learned along the way?
Um, we've talked about it, but in terms of connecting to, in slang, to shut up and let them talk,
Okay.
to,
Okay.
to recognize how we talked about that spirituality is so individual, to recognize how guidance is coming to you.
Okay.
And it may be quiet. We're used to the idea of, like, Archangel Michael going like, hello, Terry Murray, like it may be like, hey, it's to you,
Mm-hmm.
and so I get a lot of guidance from songs, for instance. So
Mm-hmm.
think of how's the universe talking to you? Just noticing that, and to recognize that they are, and that if we talk about voicemail, like what is your role in that? We use our free will. Hey guys, what do you want me
Mm-hmm.
to know? Hey angels, you know, hey David Bowie, hey Buddha, hey Kuan Yin, hey Joan of Arc, what do you want me to know? To once again trust your affinity. What so if the Beatles resonate for you, let's talk to John Lennon, you know,
Right.
let's talk to Ella Fitzgerald, let's talk to Marilyn Monroe, who you have an affinity for,
Okay.
what painter, you know, what does Monet have to tell you, or Van Gogh? So just trusting that, but also that if we think of this ultimately as systems, there's systems that exist and systems that work, and you're part of that system. And I think part of what people are experiencing right now, especially with spirituality, is feeling like a weirdo. And
Yeah.
we just drop out of that, recognize you are having an experience that a lot of people relate to and understand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the primary questions, the thing they're bringing up is, so how do we heal a divided country? We
Mm-hmm.
are. We are. And right now, words are not the way it's happening. Words are
Okay.
not, especially right now. And it's recognizing and diving into, what world do you want to live in? What do you
Mm-hmm.
value in America? You know, and
Isn't
just
that part of all of our work to just really, what kind of a world,
mhm,
society, reality do you want to live in, and then start fixing yours or healing yours or creating it in that
ripple,
way so that it.
ripples. Yeah,
Mhm.
think of yeah. This is all a clarity to have, and then make it active in your own life, in your own home. So what stresses us out is, how are we gonna reach all these people who are out
Yeah.
there? And it's focusing here and letting your heart, your home, resonate with peace and love, and letting that ripple. So if we choose to drop out of a fight at a time when it feels like we're in a fight, so that's the power step here. So if you're in the ego versus ego battle, you're kind of screwed. If you
Right.
drop out of the tug of war and just hold a space, that the people you're dealing with will have to, ego in the face of non-ego has nowhere to go. So if you
Mhm.
are not egoic and just in a space of like, hey, let's communicate, let's connect, you know, the adult will come through at some point.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Any last any last words or final any things that the angels want you to share with us?
But this is going to work out, and that there's room enough for all of us. This is the great thing about the musical Hamilton being such a sensation, that the principles, ideas, and love that are embedded in the words and the music. Are you familiar with the show?
Mm-mm.
It's a huge Broadway smash in the soundtrack. It's the hip hop musical about the founding fathers, about Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, Aaron Burr, Thomas Jefferson, and it's about America, and it's about the formation of America, which is what we're redoing right now.
Okay.
And that's just fascinating, that all these words, that one of the main themes in the show is that there's room enough for all of us. The world is big enough.
Mhm.
So if we think of that, but in that bigness, it's about the big. It's not about like, well, what about, let's just make this safe for these people right here. Like that's just pure fear. That's just pure fear.
Yes.
And there's no other way to look at it besides fear, that there's not enough love, not enough money, not enough time, not enough land, not enough ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of nowhere in that space, because we are big beings. We are big. We're not small. And to recognize, okay, how can you make your own life big? And that's not grandiose, but big,
Big
How
difference.
exactly. Yeah. And just
How
recognize
can our, I'm
it's
sorry, go ahead, finish.
a great time to be alive, isn't it?
It is, absolutely is. There's so much diversity and so many things to choose from, and how we choose to interact, not just
Mm-hmm.
react. It's just so much choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can our viewers contact you after they've been part of this? Yes.
Which is markmezadourian.com, MarkMezadourian. I'm also on Facebook of Mark Mezadourian, the Intuition Gym, and also Instagram, Twitter, all those places. But you could contact me. I do private sessions. I also have MP3s that are for free and also available for purchase. I have the online course you mentioned, Attract Your Divine Partner, and different things for and also available for private readings, that we could do this on Skype or on the phone or in person. I'm in the Bay Area. I'm also satelliting to Los Angeles and Oregon. Be moving up to Portland later in 2017. But I'm available for readings. So if you want to work privately at anything that's come up or anything you're aware of, we'll just dive into the work. And the purpose of a session really is to make the world bigger, to get out of the way and let the guides talk, and to create my goal in that is to connect the client very clearly with their own spirituality, so it's a repeatable experience.
Excellent. Excellent. Again, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful soul, it's Mark Mezadourian, M-E-Z. So I never get it quite right, do I? But it's Mezadourian, markmezadourian.com. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing the angels as they came through. It was absolutely divine. Thank you so much, Mark.
My pleasure. It's great to connect with you and to connect with everyone who's here.